Welcome back to Book of Dawn, Ioth Academy. I'm tormented by gnomes. Joining me is my fantastic cast consisting of Crowan, Legday, Lemon Kiwi, and Necra. We are halfway through episode 23 of our show, and before we go back to the scene of the trauma, I wanted to let everybody know that I'm going to be appearing on D20 Deathmatch this coming Sunday, I believe at 6 p.m., but we'll have the announcement up on Twitter and in the Discord. And we currently have a voting bracket where you can choose which character I'm going to play against Pods of War and her character Asena from Coriander Society. I'm going to go ahead and post that bracket. You can vote on Twitter. So go ahead and whatever your favorite Casters and Castles NPC is, send them forward. Please don't make me do Alika's squeaky voice for 3 hours. She is in there. That is an option. I shouldn't have said that. But there you go. Let's go ahead and go back to our story. We briefly visited Athalor and Arianna as Arianna comforts the Alfar, who has seen all sorts of trauma throughout the years, but has never been so directly connected to somebody's experience of their own misery, failure, and despair. And it has shaken him to his very core. And it is in such moments that the Grey Jester delights in bringing gifts to spread merriment. And clearly nothing else. So what I would like you to do, Athalor, is I would like you to roll 1d100. 62. Roll again, please.
Same.
Mm-hmm. 71.
Just skirting around nice right here. We're zeroing in.
Okay, I think we're getting there. Give me... Oh, no. One more roll, please. $59. Again, so close.
Oh.
It's not very Gryffindor of you.
Okay, I think I have decided. Yes. All right. We're going to have to come back to that down the line. With actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do another mysterious dice roll, because an object that Athalor does not remember picking up or creating has found its way into his personal belongings. Neither he nor Arianna is aware of this at the moment. A dark wand laced with silver intricate web patterns can now be found amongst his belongings. He will discover it the next time he goes through his robe pockets or collects his things for class, really whenever you choose to do so. But if I could have you go ahead and roll another 1d100.
One last chance for nice.
Keep them coming.
Far off. Someone do a mean average of these, please.
Would it be?
Okay. Okay, let me just take some notes. All right, noted. I want to give...
The average is indeed not nice. Sorry.
I want to give the power of this scene to Athalor and Arianna. Do you want to leave them a while longer? Do you think that they have not yet had enough time to wait in silence? If you so choose, we'll pass the action over to Garnet, from whom we've not heard in a little bit. But otherwise, if they have words or deeds for each other, the floor is yours.
I think Athalor, as an elf right now, is quite silent. Does his alternative consciousness reach out at all to Arianna when they've got physical contact?
No.
Given that they were bristling at Alyx earlier.
No. Uncle
Is he remarkably quiet?
Uncle is silent. His attention is elsewhere. He doesn't have time for all of these emotions. He's focused on objectives.
I think for Athalor it's a quiet time then.
I think Arianna would also just like not say anything, maybe keep rubbing his shoulder or something, just kind of stay close. But what a great reminder that she does have that healing wind.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any way to use that to try to ease the emotional pain that Athalor is in, I feel like this would be the perfect time to use it.
As the two of you sit together and you can feel Arianna's embrace, her hand on your shoulder, her head against yours, there's a presence with her. A sweet smelling wind. It reminds you of standing on the high walkways of your home refuge of Onderud, in the open metal causeways that lead to the heart of the gyre itself. That familiar rhythm is there. And even though this wind comes from a far off place, it carries those scents, those comforts of home almost embodied in her touch. It is a balm, a salve, a comfort in a hard time.
I think Athalor will just like try and reach out and try to hold her other hand.
Mm-hmm.
He feels El Comfort.
All right.
Oh, comfort.
Emotional damage healed. Let us turn now to Garnet, who has left the room disguised as a warden, wearing Ned's hopefully borrowed hat. And where is she headed?
Upstairs, kind of just following Una's path that they last took. And
Now,
is having
so remember, Master L now is in the spire. The spire is not physically connected to the ring. The spire floats in the very middle of the ring. It's like a donut hovering around the whole thing. I wonder if I can pull that up. I'll try to pull that up for stream.
So there's no way to access it, like a door, staircase.
Flight magic. It is deliberately
kidding me?
kept isolated as a
Try
security
jumping.
measure.
Try jumping. Press A to jump. Is there any like flying carpet business? Is there people? Like, how are wardens getting up there?
They have access to flying carpets,
Where are these coming from?
usually kept with them. You could search around for it. However, a while ago, chat gave us a random artificer item. And I'm thinking it could be like a short-term mini flight, one-use jetpack.
Potion of flight.
Potion of flay, or some shit.
Ooh.
No, it's an artificer, so I think it has to be a gadget, right? Maybe it's like a little propeller beanie that you wear on your head and strap.
like an umbrella kind of propeller thing.
Of
Mary
like-
Poppins, yo.
Yeah, I think it would be a one-time. It's a prototype, right? It's a student project, something that's still being built. Boots that allow you to fly, but they're unstable. They will only allow a one-way trip. They'll get you to the spire, but they won't get you back.
Probably find them laying around and
Mm-hmm.
all right, let's see if these fit. Just put
Yep.
them, take
Strap
shoes
it.
off, put shoes on.
They've got straps, kind of like ski boots. You have to lock them into place. You click the heels together. They aren't literal. They aren't literal propellers because that's not enough physical force. They are magically enchanted, and it's very unstable. It's like the first time that Iron Man ever tried to fly was roll a dexterity check to catch your balance. An even 10. You're no expert, but you're not falling on your face.
So am I like on a roof area at this point?
You absolutely can be.
Okay, I'm gonna throw my shoes off the roof. No evidence.
Okay, splash.
Okay, and I'm gonna. All right, I'm gonna kind of kneel a bit and then do a jump move and see if I can reach whatever.
All right. You do, in fact, do a jump move and you start flying. From your perspective, it's straight up, but about halfway, as soon as you get past the 8 towers of wizardry that all point in from the ring towards the spire like spokes of a wheel that never reach the center, as soon as you pass that gap, the gravity shifts. It no longer pulls you towards the outer edges of the ring. It now pulls you down towards the earth. It's a tricky little moment. Give me an acrobatics check to navigate that gravitational slip.
Okay.
A natural 1.
What about like a
no.
lucky dice?
Do you burn all those yet? It's the same day. You tracking those as you knock those off?
I thought I had 1 left, but I can have
It's-
0.
It's possible. I'm just making sure it's being tracked. You also
Okay.
have inspiration.
Dispose? Okay, well let's use the inspo first then, because now you're making me second guess myself. It's not going well either way.
7. Well, you have 1 inspiration left. I would let you burn that to get 1 lucky dice back.
Okay,
right.
let us acrobatics this to a 12.
Yes,
12.
5 are our friend.
Okay, now I would like you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
What? What? God damn it.
Natural
my
20.
God.
All right.
No.
As you pass through the gravitational shift, it's almost like you've forgotten about it. You're so focused on helping Master L now and getting these boots to work that are clearly the magical spell matrix around them is a little unstable. You can't hold them too close together for themselves. And you find the gravity shifting, and suddenly the boots that are supposed to be pointed down against gravity are now pointed sideways. You start spiraling forward, pull yourself into a loop, spin several times, and manage to avoid throwing up as the gravity shifts.
I'm probably slightly used to it since my last magic carpet ride.
Mhm.
So but not in that fashion. But I'm like,
Yeah.
But I guess through this like whole journey, she's having like an internal dialogue, and her shadow's like talking to her. But for chat, this would be kind of her dialogue that kind of like not like split personality disorder. We're not going that that direction, but the shadow's gonna be like, oh, well, Untimaller's obviously going to throw her under the bus. The knights have probably already killed Master L now. And like the shadow's just antagonizing her the whole time. And she's trying to like stay calm, but like, just shut up, focus, shut up. And then just probably is why her flight gets all fucked up in the first place.
Mhm.
And now that she's like not thrown up, it's kind of like her regaining that focus and moving on.
Excellent. Her resolve restored. You fly back towards the spire. You know where all this is taking place. It's in one of the main wings. You had Una spying for you. You have a rough idea of the lay of the land. Where do you want to make your approach? You could land at Master Elnau's office. You could land at the front gate. You could go to Untermaller's window. What's the plan?
Probably go through what was that giant room we were in with all the doors, and then there was a hallway that connects to the offices.
Please stand by.
And also trying to maybe make contact with Una, since it's 100 feet or something that we can talk. Or
We perceive you.
Where have you been? Where are you?
We watch.
Can you walk also towards me?
We are born on wings of darkness. Is flying okay?
Sure.
It is more effective than walking.
Have you seen Master L now?
We perceive her.
Where?
Look! And Una will point to a conference room where the Knights of Terra Nimbus are gathered. And we will now take our leave of that particular scene and go back to Alyx.
Oh boy.
Alyx, where did we
Okay.
leave off with you, my friend?
So, given chase to the Knights of Terra Nimbus, got to the top of the stairs, out of the crypt, and pointed towards the Hall of Records. And Alex would say, still as warden, I think I saw them go in there.
Indeed. And you
And Alex would kind of start like we're walking, sprinting, jogging towards there, towards that room.
all
See
right.
if they follow.
You make your way there. Do you want backup? You made a good deception roll.
I want backup. Kind of whatever happens is fine based off what Alex says, like however they interpret it. But he's gonna go to the door and open it.
And you're fine if they follow you?
Yeah.
Okay. One of them goes with you. The other one pairs off with the guard that they left behind. And you are at the door where the body was made, with a warden on your 6. What do you open the door?
Yeah, open the door.
Okay.
And I mean the blood's gonna be there.
Yeah, there's a lot of blood in this room.
And kind of open the door. Make sure to open enough to where it's like the other warden would see. And then kind of look taken aback for a second and say, murder. The knights have murdered someone here. And then like turns to the one that's like next to him and says, I will report this and go to the spire. Find them if they're still in this hall. They can't be allowed to do any more damage here.
All right. Roll persuasion check, please, as the other warden looks at the scene grim and wide-eyed. 17. What were your instructions to him again?
I told them to go find to see if they're still like within this hall, and that Alex would go to the spire and report it to try to separate from that one.
Got it. That one's going to go ahead and check outside. After all, the Knights of Terra Nimbus would likely take to the air more than anything else.
Alex is going to, at this point, close the door and start going to the like landing platform, or like whichever place that the other
That'd be
wardens like took off from.
That would be up the stairs and on the next floor.
Yeah, Alex would start heading that way. The intention, unless he runs into anybody else, but he's gonna get there. Obviously, not have any way to get to the spire, but then do a little Mask of Many Faces again and transform into Balvarax.
Okay.
And then start walking back towards the dorms.
Okay. Interesting.
Thinking. Downloading.
Man, Crowan. Damn it. Wheels within wheels.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
We're gonna start a war between like the Sovereign of the Skies and Ioth Academy.
Oh, man. At this point, I would like all 4 of you to each roll 1d20.
Huh? What?
Do I have to use my disadvantage on this?
You do
or-
not. This is a flat 1d20 roll.
Shoddy, not it.
8,
Whatever it is.
15, 7, and
Above
6.
average.
Well, it's either gonna be Athalor or it's gonna be Arianna. Let's find out. Or someone else if it's more appropriate. Wrath of the gods! Woe to those caught beneath the shadow of Terra Nimbus!
Oh, fuck!
That sounds very bad.
You manifested it! You manifested it!
About that dueling tournament. I don't think it's happening yet.
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh no. Oh no. Well, I know where those Knights of Terra Nimbus went. They are flying. ET has phoned home.
What? Huh?
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Okay. All right. I would like to go ahead and put the ball into Athalor and Arianna's court that you just let me know when you want to do anything. Otherwise, they're comforting each other. They're taking care of each other.
Sorry.
Huh.
It's a children's television. Okay, that's a lie. That's
We're
not. This is not a
15.
children's
We're
television
15.
Yeah,
program.
this is Hannah Montana now.
What?
Oh my
Get the
god.
What can we
best
hear of
both
the
worlds.
what can we hear of a kerfuffle outside?
Well, if you take a look at the map, that is quite the gap between your room and the Hall of Records. It's like 100
Yeah.
feet.
I just assumed that we heard like a bunch of armored dudes come up this staircase, like get him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would have heard that. You would have heard them go flying past.
Hmm.
I don't think tonight's over.
Nope. I don't think so.
Athalor would try to just like slowly get up and peer out the door.
Okay. You would have a chance to see what just happened. You saw two wardens looking in to the Hall of Records, where all the blood is. One of them dipping out, being told by Alyx, whose warden disguise you recognize, being told to leave, and then Alyx walking up the stairs. That's what you would have perceived.
Everything okay out there?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything we can do either. I don't know where Alyx and Garnet are. I don't know what's going on. They're looking into the Hall of Records, and I don't think that's going to be good. But there's nothing we can do about it from here.
Well, you got rid of the bloody box. I'm assuming that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I'll spare you the details, but it does.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, there's no body, so they probably won't know what happened in there. I think we should just stay here. Let's just wait
Athalor
it out.
nods quickly, but then sort of like storms up to the back wall and kind of puts the ear horn of hearing against it to see if any of the other dorms are alight with activity. Oh,
+1 XP. Roll a perception check, please.
where did I put my character sheet? There it is. Bam. Wait, this is disadvantage.
So used to it at this point.
As you go to listen at the wall, you notice on the top of your dresser a beautiful ebony wand covered with a silver spiderweb pattern that you don't recall seeing before.
Did you bring this, Arianna?
No, I've never seen that before. It's
Apple.
not yours?
He reaches out and picks it up. Feels a little bit like it's mine, but I don't think it is. Is there anything to be felt beyond just like the texture of the wood when it's picked up?
It's hard to drop. Not like impossible to drop, but it very easily clings to your
spider silk.
Yeah, almost. There's no spider silk on it, but it almost has the same properties.
That's weird. I thought kind of just get like says it to Arianna like this.
That is very weird. Are you sure that's not Alex's? Is it Alex's? But then why would it be in your stuff?
I don't know. I guess Alyx would hide his sticky wand wherever he wants.
What I thought. We're 15-year-olds. Okay. Good one, Athalor. Good one.
Thanks.
I didn't think Alyx could use magic. At least not like that.
I don't know. Athalor would try and use it as a focus to just cast like something harmless, like prestidigitation, just to like flip over a book.
No, it's not a spell focus. When you do that, it has its own energies built within it that are interfering and making it impossible to use it to cast a spell. It contains magic. you would roll an Arcana check for me, please?
Let's burn another disadvantage. Bam. Oh. So close to being a 19 and a 20.
All right, so when a wand is used as an arcane focus, it doesn't contain magical energy. It's just built in such a way that you can essentially make it part of a spell matrix. It becomes a physical extension or an anchor point of a spell matrix as you're casting it. But there are also magic wands that have fully contained spells within them. In most cases, they take a command word to activate, but some of them, you have to attune yourself to them first so that they become an extension of your magical aura, and you can just trigger them by saying the word and coursing a little bit of your energy through it. So this is a spell wand. You don't know what spell until you actually attune to it, which would take a short rest.
Well, we can probably figure out what this is if we are staying here. I don't know what more we can do at the moment, to be honest.
Is that a good idea? I mean, like right now. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
Athalor tries to put down the wand on the mantelpiece, but then ends up just wiping it off on the mantelpiece.
You successfully scrape it off.
Okay. Huh. Weird. At least it seems to like you.
Yeah, that's one word for it. Okay, so I guess there's not much we can do.
It doesn't seem like it. I mean, I don't know. Did Garnet tell you anything about what she was up to? I mean, Alyx is a warden right now, so I guess is off doing warden shit. I'm not really sure.
If I had to guess, Garnet's probably off looking for Master L now. That was why we all decided to get involved in the night shenanigans. We were helping her.
That actually makes sense. I mean, I think she said something about that. Honestly, I'm not too sure. I got woken up in the middle of the night. I was having the most wonderful dream about food.
And
then I got woken
laugh
up.
out loud a little bit.
So I think she said something like that. But I don't know where she is now. She was invisible.
Then I guess we wait. Athalor
I guess
gestures
so.
over to Alex's bed. If you're tired, I'll probably be up for a while. No, Lemon, don't you make that?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't. I didn't do anything.
It's completely innocent.
All right.
The camera.
Anything
And
else?
on that note,
On that note, we turn once again to Garnet, who is flying about in the spire, reunited with her shadow imp Una. Who has flickered over to spy on another room, which I will show you in a mere moments. Flickered over to spy on another room where Untermaler and Master L now and several Knights of Terra Nimbus are all gathered together. This is a receiving room for diplomats, for visiting dignitaries. There's a wide number of benches, a bunch of seats up at the top, but everybody currently is standing. The venerable master of the College of War is clearly agitated and angry, carrying a staff absolutely covered in runes, capped with gold, silver, and stranger metals, and adorned on the top with a massive ruby the size of your fist.
Was this Untermaler you're talking about or someone else?
This is Untermaler we're talking about. He and Master Elnau are standing side by side, and the Knights of Terra Nimbus are arrayed before them, not in combat positions, but certainly not in a friendly array.
Is the door just like open? Am I like in the room or?
The door is closed. You can choose where you want to fly to. If you just try to walk in the front door, there are secretaries and guards there who will watch you. Una is floating outside the window, eavesdropping in. You may choose to land wherever you want, but the only places where you could land without being seen would maybe be Master Elnau's office, assuming that no one's there, or clinging to the outside of the spire dangerously high. What would you like to do? Where do you want to actually land?
Is there like a hallway that this is connecting to?
Yeah, so you have had a chance to sort of spy on this area, so you know that you've got this area right here, protected by wardens. You've got this is sort of the landing platform is immediately out here. There is another landing platform out here, which is where the Knights of Terra Nimbus arrived. Both of the doors are closed. So you're not actually in this room, you're just aware of this room's existence. You would also be aware that to the east is a large barracks. This is where the members of the Kizjan are being held. Currently, you only see a handful of them in this room, along with Aoife, who is not in the Kizjan. You know that the room directly above that is Untermaller's office, over here. And the room above that is a large council room with a number of people meeting, having a number of mages and masters having what seems like a pretty important meeting. There's several hallways that connect to each other, and there's a window right here. And that is the extent of what you have seen. Where would you
And
like?
Una can hear. Oh, sorry.
Where would you like to arrive when you land?
Probably. So depending on if Una can hear what's going on in the conference room, they must be at the window.
Mm-hmm.
If they can hear that, I'd like to just post up in this hallway that you have on the right. Just kind of look like I'm on post or something, and just listen in on the meeting and hear what's going on.
Okay. You hear the voices of the Knights of Terra Nimbus. While they all carry massive swords forged of sky steel, their leader's armor is not that clear, bright, shining day silver, but more of a gold-hued metal. Her armor is covered with tabards and pauldrons bearing elemental runes, and her weapon is not a huge sword, but a mace spiked and bejeweled, clearly an instrument of arcane power.
Can I take note of those runes, like memorize them?
Yeah,
Tell
absolutely.
Alex later. Okay.
I understand who you represent. And yet, the Academy does not give up its own to any power in the Four Kingdoms.
Untermaller's voice rumbles across the hall, even as he and Ika Elnau side-eye each other. They stand united in front of the Knights of Terra Nimbus. Their leader calls up and says, "This one's dark magics tore asunder a storm giant in the High Lord Vindur's service. Her unearthly power laid a grave wound upon his very son. She has committed crimes against creation, crimes of war. Did we make a mistake when we came to your aid against the Raveners?"
No. It would be a mistake not to rise up against the Infernals and their minions. And it is a mistake also to cross this academy and waste your time chasing one under our protection when you should be out patrolling the world itself.
Our service and our priority lies solely in the Hail-Crowned King. It is you who are unwise to defy the gods. The tension in the air is electric as they stare each other down. the knights through the visors of their supernatural armor. The enormous, battle-scarred, pale-furred minotaur, the rings driven through his horns, jingling quietly in a breeze that seems to sweep around the room emanating from the armored knights. Your master, the Shadow Mage, stands, her eyes burning with scarcely contained, barely concealed hatred, looking at the knights. There's a long pause.
I have spoken on behalf of the Muintiori. I speak on matters of authority in the voice of Ioth himself. I will not be swayed. Return to your Terra Nimbus.
The knights stare at him, turn, walking, not flying, and march out the door without another word. What do you do?
So are they coming through the door that I'm next to, or
No,
other
there's
door?
there's a separate platform for them to depart over here.
As I hear maybe the last clanging of the knights leave the room, I'm gonna send a message to Master L now, because as long as I know the target is in the room and certain thickness of materials don't separate me, I should be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you
If
definitely
you
should be
allow,
able to.
of
What
course.
do you tell her?
Are you okay?
Yes,
And
I'm
in
all
my
right.
voice, yeah.
Are you okay?
Someone order stuff.
Hey, I got a book here that needs to be signed for by Master Ika El Neo.
El Neo. Okay. Whew. Just here. I'm just glad you're okay. Are they gone? Are they leaving?
Exactly at that moment, as 3 of the knights pass through, their leader stops, turns around. Mortal magic cannot stand against the heavens, Minotaur. Whether the light of the dawn is with you or not, you will not forget this. And there's this faint clap of thunder far off in the distance, punctuating that word. And then they leave before responding to you, before Elnau can respond to you. They're leaving now. Stay hidden. Where are you?
Oh, I'm right outside the door.
Stay hidden. Do not move. This is about to get messy.
What?
And on that exact moment, when the door closes, Master Elnau turns towards Untermaler and opens her mouth to speak, and he stomps the staff on the floor angrily. And before we continue this, let us catch up with our friend Alexander, who's wearing a disguise of Balvarax all the way back down at Tarsal Moor Hall. What's the plan,
I'm
friend?
trying to figure what's happening up there. I don't know.
You have no idea what's going on right now.
Yeah, I know. Alex is at the landing. Obviously, doesn't have any way to get to the spire, so has transformed into Balvrax and starts walking back towards the dorms. Not sneakily. If he runs into any other wardens, that is okay, but he's just going to go walk back to the dorms from here.
Okay. You happen to exactly run into some of the wardens who do a double take. They're like, you!
Some more, yes, what?
You're supposed to be up at the spire right now.
Yes, I was sent back down rather hastily, and then they flew off doing what knows, I don't know. I'm supposed to go back to my dorm now. If you want to escort me, that's fine. I've been through a lot tonight. Can I please just get back to my room and sleep?
Roll a deception check. This time with disadvantage. They are wary. They are suspicious.
Oh, shit. Okay. 13?
13. Okay. The two wardens look at each other, clearly exasperated. They don't have time for this. They have bigger fish to fry at the moment, but orders are orders. So, one of them is going to escort you back to your room. The other one is going to continue chasing after the Knights of Terra Nimbus, and they are absolutely going to report this in to make sure this is what's supposed to be going on.
Mm-hmm.
But that might take a little while. So they're going to escort you to Balvarax's room.
Yep.
Let's see if I can find that.
Who's Balvarax's roommate?
Balvarax is asleep in his bed, huh?
Oh no,
But if
Balvarax
you're
is up
me-
in the spire right now.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. I can't recall off the top of my head who Balvarax's roommate was. If somebody in chat can pass that my way. Otherwise, you're heading back to Balvarax's room. What's the plan from there? They unlock it. They say, go in here, stay in here.
Yeah. Upon just getting out of that situation, the warden's running off doing whatever, then would just kind of listen at the door, wait till he doesn't like hear anything, and then try
Mhm.
to sneak back to Alyx and Athalor's room.
Okay. Roll a stealth check for me, please. This will be somewhat easier since they are otherwise occupied with extra celestial invaders. A 12? It's just barely enough to make your way back.
Okay.
And so you are at the door of your room. How do you enter?
Ta-da!
Just give I don't know that Arianna's in here. I
Correct.
don't think. Yeah. So just to alert Athalor, just give a quick little knock and then open the door, and as he's kind of opening and slipping through, then turn back into Alyx. Drop the mask of many faces.
Oh, you're okay. Athalor actually comes up and tries to give him a hug.
Alyx would reciprocate. Like, how's everything? And just like kind of notice Arianna probably still like sitting on the bed. So, how's everything in here?
We were worried about you, and we are worried about Garnet.
Yeah.
We have to assume that she's gone after Elle now.
Probably. When's the last time I even saw Garnet? Alyx kind of like reflects for a moment. After she left the Hall of Records, I suppose. I don't really know what happened to her after that.
Yeah, we've just been
Yeah.
we've been waiting here because we didn't know where either of you two were, so not much that we could do.
I'm back now, and went to the crypt, and the Knights of Terra Nimbus started running. I did lead one of the wardens back to the Hall of Records. Other wardens saw the blood. They'll probably think it was the Knights. I don't know, but that was the hope at least. So
That was smart.
lead them on some kind of chase away from us and our involvement with everything here.
I mean, they'd never believed that a bunch of kids could overpower a warden anyway, right?
No, not unless they find the
Mm-mm.
body, which, I mean, it's not around, but
I mean,
I don't know where that
don't
water
think-
goes.
I don't think any of us have big slashy swords anyway that would do that.
No.
Athel looks over to Arianna. So, a warden might have.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what was in the box.
Yeah.
Got it.
Technically,
body.
the box was an illusion, but yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Speaking of, now that I'm remembering, do you either of you know what was going on when the warden kind of Because I admit I tried something, but that was not all that was interfering at that point. There was something else.
What?
Looking back and forth between Athalor and Arianna.
What do you mean? When?
When we went to stop the warden from finding out that Athalor was not really a Lozrin.
Uncle check.
He is no
Bullshit.
longer distant. His focus is entirely in this room, not with you, distracted. You can't hear his voice, but you can feel his attention. Piercing towards Alexander, entirely focused on him. And as that happens, you can feel that same infinite, dark, glacial crevasse, that howling wind at the very periphery of your senses. Not your senses, but the senses of one whose presence resides within you. As if in a dream being dreamt by somebody else.
I reached out my mind and tried to exert some force upon him. Just a little bit of convincing.
Alexander, an unfamiliar voice pries its way into your head. Identify yourself.
Alexander Cowles Blythe.
Dear boy, I'm not convinced he was talking to you.
And you feel the cold winds rushing around you, pulling away from you as to a distance. The fringes of that chill, that doorway to power still resides within you, but the frozen core has moved elsewhere. And as this happens, Athalor, you feel a chill creeping into your mind, a malevolence, spite, contempt. Arianna, roll an insight check, please.
Ooh, she's a fucking medium, dude!
Okay. There is an intense pressure within the room. Suddenly, these two friends that you've known since you started at school, these two people who are so dear to you, they look like strangers. The shadows in the room, cast by the light orb that normally illuminates and spreads to all corners, the light recedes. The shadows grow long. They extend behind your friends, casting unfamiliar silhouettes, towering at an alien angle to what you're used to. Their faces barely recognizable, all traces of warmth, of companionship, of old memories gone for a brief moment. Alyx stands as though at the heart of a blizzard, with smoky black fog trailing around him, his eyes burning with a blue flame. Behind Athalor, the world parts, peeling back like old paint. And beyond it is emptiness, an echoing, hungry darkness, and something reaching as though from an impossible distance. Those aren't hands. Those aren't human. Whatever that is, reaching down upon Athalor's shoulder as these two face each other. You blink, and it's your friends. It's their room. But something is still off.
Are you guys okay?
A touch chilly.
Guess we all have our secrets then.
Athor looks down at his arm to, I assume, see like the hair standing on end,
Mm-hmm.
and says out loud, even though it's kind of directed to the air, "You're coming in, are you?"
And Athalor, in your mind, an unfamiliar voice.
Ah, that poor, poor warden. Caught between an immovable object and an unstoppable force. Another casualty, another body strewn in your wake. Well, we're going to have to catch up a little bit, aren't we?
Athalor just breathes very visibly heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem to respond either out loud or in his mind.
And then both voices go silent. Again, their attention elsewhere, focused entirely on each other, distracted for a moment from their mortal vessels as they face each other in some ethereal realm. You feel them withdraw. You feel them coming into contact, testing each other's strength. But again, at a great distance, as though through an impossible curtain of fog. The pressure lessens, but the dread, as if your parents are fighting in the other room, remains.
Arianna is like kind of slowly backing herself away from the two of them. But she's not really sure where to go either.
Do you have anyone to add to the mix too, Arianna? Might as well make it a whole party in here.
No, I don't think so. I have a lot of questions. I don't know if I want answers right now, but I have a lot of questions. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I got a feeling that maybe he isn't an imaginary friend.
I think you both have an imaginary friend that you're not eager to talk about.
I've talked about mine enough to that you know of them.
Yeah, but this
Athalor,
is the
though, I
first
don't
time
know.
I'm seeing them, and that's a little scary, okay?
Yeah, sure. Sure, that is understandable. Yeah, there are forces that we really don't comprehend, but they're still here. They're still driving us. They're still operating with whatever desires, whatever they're doing, and Athalor is a part of that too now, I see.
I mean, I thought it was a voice from home. I thought it was home calling back to me. Not that it was like yours.
Yeah, I don't think that's a voice from home. I don't think Alfar looked like that. I think you have a lot to figure out. And apparently the two of you might need some time alone. Or is that a bad idea? That might be a bad idea. I'm not gonna. Yeah, but I don't want to be here.
If
We
you don't
are
want to be
alone.
here,
But I feel like leaving you two alone. Ooh, there's something in the air that makes me feel like you guys kind of want to kill each other.
make your choice, but there's going to be a conversation.
I think I'm gonna go sit in the corner. That one.
Right.
The one I'm very close to, that's very far away from the two of you.
Tragically not far enough.
Meanwhile, in the spire,
Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared. I hate this school. I want to go home.
Garnet, Inril Untermaler strikes the Staff of Power against the beautiful patterned marble floor of the hall, and it echoes with a boom. Arcane potency infused in every single inch of that weapon as he yells at Ika Elnau.
There, are you satisfied?
Untermaler, I would expect nothing less than honor from you. But this business with these children, just send for Redknop. You're traumatizing them. They're children. They're not infernal agents sent to kill you. They're not sleepers sent by outsiders. They're not Terra Nimbus's mooks. I don't know what you think is going on here, but they are 14-year-olds, Untermaler. You cannot treat them like this.
The boy spoke true. I tested him. I read his thoughts. He was not lying.
Then perhaps he's deluded. Perhaps he's out of his own good wits. Perhaps whatever he says he believes is true, even though it's not true. The rest of them passed, didn't they?
2 of them, I harbor my suspicions.
Then let somebody else talk to them, Untermaler. I swear, you're a diplomat. You should be better than this. You shouldn't be chasing shadows. Untermaler glares at Elnau for a moment, takes a deep breath, exhales.
I do not wish to cause any harm. If you'd spoken with the boy as I had, you might believe as I do.
Then let me speak to him.
No, I think it best that first the Master Diviner speak to them. And I will send for the Sage.
Garnet, you're just sitting here listening in on all of this. Are you doing anything else at the moment?
Do I know what like Sage and Master Diviner? Have we gotten to know these characters yet?
You've not met the Master Diviner, but you know Redknop is a Ember Dwarf. In the 8 Towers of Wizardry, the Masters study like the high arts. And if you choose to stay at Ioth Academy after your 7 years, you can study at the Towers of Wizardry. Even if you're not a wizard, that's just what they're called. So there's a Master of War Magic, that's Untermaler. There's a Master of Evocation Magic, that's Master Elnau. There's a Master of Divination Magic, reading the future, which is never a sure thing, but trying to predict the future. And like when you cast Detect Magic, sensing spells, spells of knowledge, spells of analysis, that's all divination magic. Some of it is extremely scholarly and well locked in, like Detect Magic. It lets you see a spell matrix and analyze things. Some of it is extremely esoteric and poorly understood. Any magic that attempts to look to the future is never going to be a sure thing, and it's always highly occult and shrouded in mystery. It's not a science. You can't nail it down. Master Redknop, the Ember Dwarf, is the Master Diviner. So if anybody's going to get information out of people, find out if people are lying, do predictions, that sort of thing, that would be Master Redknop's specialty. That one you know already. I would like you to roll History or Arcana with regards to the Sage. The Sage is a figure from Ioth's past and from the story of the Fall of Luminius. If you have taken classes that would give you advantage on these, you may take advantage on this roll.
I think I took the Dawn Magic class, and I also have advantage on entities and magical creatures.
I'm going to say those don't apply in this case.
Etiology and Underworld.
You haven't finished Underworld, so you don't get that yet.
I vaguely remember us talking about it, but I can't remember the context.
So the Dawn magic class doesn't.
Not in this case.
so
The Sage is
it
not a
has-
practitioner of dawn magic, even though she'd be part of that story.
Okay, I still have good history. Let's try it. Okay.
A 10.
I think
You
we
ever
discussed
just
it
cap
once at one of the opening ceremonies. Because
Maybe the
Athalor
very
met
first
her.
year. But hasn't been there since.
Mm.
No big.
So a 10. That's enough to know the basics. The Sage, there's the Alfar, who are the Dawn Elves. There's the Huldra, who are the Dusk Elves. There's the Aurai, who are the Sky Elves, like Master Elnau. There's also the Dark Elves, the Dolkelfar. They dwell beneath the earth. They're the guardians of the pathways that lead between the mortal world and the underworld. They are highly reclusive. They are very mysterious. Mortals are afraid of them. The other elves respect them a great deal because of their mastery of the low places of the world and of the passages to the underworld. The Sage is their leader. She is an Oniromancer who practices dream magic. She's also one of the greatest experts at winnowing out infernal influence. Because one of the things that the Dark Elves do is they are wardens. They watch over the dream world and they watch out for infernal influence in all of its ways. So when he says, I'm going to send for the Sage, he's basically sending, she's not a monarch because she's the Sage because her title is based on knowledge and magical power, but she is their preeminent leader of their entire people, and she's one of the survivors of the fall of Luminius.
So is this like conversation starting to wind down, or are they still talking about stuff?
No, they're going to wind down. They're going to have a couple of parting words. Elnau is satisfied that she's talked Untermaler out of traumatizing any more school children. They are begrudgingly, like, he put his neck out on the line. He put the whole academy on the line for her against Terra Nimbus, but they are not friends.
Gotcha.
He is about...
Probably...
Go ahead.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, he's about to walk out.
I'm about to walk in. I'm about to walk in before they... As the conversation starts to wind down, I walk in.
High five him on the way out.
Do you want to walk in while Untermaler is there?
Yeah.
Okay. As you enter and he's making his way out, he stops, lays his eyes on you, glares, doesn't glare, but his eyes narrow for a moment.
I immediately look at Master L now and I say,
Oh.
Master L.
Go ahead.
Well, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one sec. Master L now, there's been a breach. And through all of this form, she keeps Garnet's eyes, the kind of unique color that Garnet's eyes have, because she's not trying to hide at this point. And she kind of darts her eyes at Untermaler. And I said, is there a problem?
Reach.
In the crypts.
Who?
The knights.
He looks over at Master Elnau, looks over at you, nods, and rushes out.
Once he leaves, I'll keep the disguise, but I'll go back to Garnet's voice. Or I don't know if it counts as voice coverage too, but I guess it does. But I'll go back to Garnet's voice and say, I didn't like his tone.
Master Elnau breathes a huge sigh of relief. Her wings like flop down around her. They've been up almost in like in this falcon stance the entire time. They fold as she relaxes. Are you carrying the book?
Yeah.
Okay. She sees it. She sees you. She relaxes. She
almost
chuckles in disbelief at you.
I am like keeping a serious face, and I'm like trying to like keep the breathing under control, but she'll put her hand out and just blow a hole in the wall, kind of near Una, as kind of in disregard, kind of lets out that basically that arcane blast she's been holding, but directs it at the wall and blows a hole open there.
Almost a diamond shaped, like a shard of glass, just a hole in the room, an emptiness in space that flies through the window, impacts, and the area around where it hits is gone. There's no explosion. There's no flash of light. It just, there's a hole now in the wall, a big one, 3 feet across.
He didn't misstep this time. I'm glad you're okay.
She looks at you. She looks at the book. Roll an insight check, please, Garnet. Your realization, you just watch her eyes as she sees what you did, sees the book in your hands, and comes to a very heavy conclusion. She's going to hold off on that for just a moment. She reaches out to take the book from you, to accept the book, not to seize it. Tell me what's going on. Is everything under control?
She kind of like doesn't say anything and is like holding on to the book and just kind of pauses and just doesn't react.
Okay. Elle now raises her hands together, passes one to the side, puts the other one on her lips, and suddenly you are surrounded by a profound silence, a complete absence of noise. Not even the sound of blood moving through your own ears, not even your heartbeat or the movement of air can be heard in this room. Complete, utter void of all sound. And the chain on the book dissolves into nothingness. She brings her hands back together. Sound returns to the room. She places one hand on the cover and says, I think it's time. And that seems as good a place as any for us to end the whole episode for tonight, folks. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to tune in next week as Ioth Academy continues. Join us on Sunday at D20 Deathmatch for a special episode featuring that. And hang out with us in the Discord as we continue discussing what's going to happen next in Book of Dawn, Ioth Academy.